Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Tier 4 German medium tank, the Pz.Kpfw.IV. So is it any good? No, it's not. Let's get into review. It has 350 hit points, weighs around, which is average by the way for a Tier 4 medium tank. The lowest being the M3 Lee with 310 and the highest being Matilda with 370. Weight wise at 21 tons it's about average for a Tier 4 medium, so you're kind of ramming, you can if you need to, but it's not great at it. Speed wise it does 42 kilometers an hour in forward and 18 kilometers per hour in reverse. That's on the lower side of average for a Tier 4 medium. The real slow tanks are of course the Matilda at 24 and then the M3 Lee does 38. So it's faster than those, but it's slower than everyone else. Track traverse of 40 is about average for a Tier 4 medium. The best being the Panzer III at 45 and the worst being Matilda and the Chihei with 36. Turret traverse though is very good at 46 degrees. It shares that honour with the Panzer III, the Pz.Kpfw.IV and the T28. The view range of 340 meters is also the equal best, and it does share that with the T28, Matilda and the Chihei. So not too bad in that respect. And signal range of 415 is actually pretty terrible and is the worst of all the Tier 4 mediums, but it really doesn't matter with this tank because the gun isn't very accurate, so you're not going to be shooting at range where, you know, needing radio information about tanks a long way away is important. You can't hit them anyway, so it doesn't matter. The camouflage on this tank is on the lower side of average for Tier 4 medium, but it's still quite good. It's quite respectable. Those of you who have ever driven or seen an M3 Lee, M3 Lee has absolutely terrible camouflage. This tank probably has about twice as good a camouflage as the M3 Lee, and it's still a lot better than the T28. But then it's probably the next worst one after that. But it's still it's not bad. Gun depression wise, this tank has 10 degrees of gun depression, which is good gun depression, and 20 degrees of elevation. And it's about average for a Tier 4 medium. However, it's not a hill fighter. The problem is, as you can see here, the turret is, let's say, what's the center of our turret? The center of our turret axis is probably about here, and it's probably closer to the back than it is to the front. So it's probably a little bit back of the center of the tank. So you have to get a fair bit of your tank over the hill to get your gun on the enemy, which is a bit of an issue. So it's not a good hill fighter. Also, the cupola here, which is quite weak, is quite prominent, and that kind of makes it easy for people to hit you if you're trying to pop over a hill. The other thing is you can't really just pop over a hill because the gun has quite a long aim time. So you have to pop over and stay over for quite a while to aim. And a long aim time combined with horrible accuracy means that you can't either just pop over and shoot without aiming because you just won't hit. Now the grind for this tank, let's have a quick look here. I was able to go straight to the top radio and I think the top engine, simply because I've had a few German heavy tanks and some light tanks, so maybe that's why I was able to unlock them straight away. I can't tell you what the stock engine was like because I never used it. The tracks are definitely worth upgrading because it takes your traverse from 35 to 40, so you really need those. And gun-wise, this is the only gun worth using, I think. You have the two guns here are the guns off the Panzer IV that you already had. And the 67 pen, of course, is just inadequate at this tier, so there's no point really relying on that gun at all. Unless you wanted to use exclusive premium ammunition, in which case this gun probably would be acceptable because you get 130 pen with it, whereas in this one you only get 139 with premium on the top gun, so it's not much difference in pen. Although you'd only be doing 70 damage, but your rate of fire of 26 is almost twice as fast as your rate of fire here at 15. And your accuracy of 0.38 on the stock gun is better than the 0.4 that you get on the top gun, and your aiming time of 1.9 is far better than the aiming time of 2.5 here. So this gun, if you're someone who doesn't mind spending money on gold, I would probably use this gun instead, and you might do okay in the tank. You'll do better, I think, but I'm not prepared to spend all that money on gold ammo, so I don't use it. And then this is the same derp gun as you had on the Panzer IIIA, you know, 43 110, 87 110. At this tier now, not really good enough, so I didn't use it. So I stuck with the top gun. 75mm with 15 rate of fire, which is quite slow for a tier 4 medium tank. What I might do is just grab a couple of guns from my two probably favourite tier 4s, and we can compare those. I'll just stop it for a second. So what I've done now, I've grabbed, here we've got the gun off the T28, here we have the gun off the Matilda, and here's the gun off our Pz.Kpfw.IV. So to give you an idea, comparison wise, we have a rate of fire of 15 on the Pz.Kpfw.IV. Matilda has a rate of fire of 28.57, which is exceptionally fast, and the T28 is 22.22, which is very fast as well. So you can see our rate of fire isn't great. We have a penetration of 103, which is not bad, but the Matilda has 121 and the T28 has 112. Now we can get up to 139 with premium ammunition, which I don't really use, but you can do it, which isn't that much below the Matilda's premium with 145. However, the Russian with premium goes up to 189. Excuse me, Russian bias. Now the Russian tank does 85 damage per shot, which is quite good. The Matilda does 55, which is quite low. The Pz.Kpfw.IV does 110, which is actually very good damage for a tier 4 medium tank, and that's great. That's similar, I think, to the M3 Lee. So in that respect, it does do a lot of damage, and the penetration is not too bad, even though it's not as good as these other two. Accuracy wise though, this is where now the other tanks really start to pull away. 0.34 for the Russian, 0.36 for the Matilda, both quite good accuracy. 0.4 on the German Pz.Kpfw.IV, and it's really not good. Now that combined with, on the Russian we've got a 2.3 aiming time, Matilda 1.9 aiming time, and here we have 2.5 aiming time. This aiming time is just too long, and the accuracy is just too bad. Now, a grain of salt in that my crew, okay, poor training. They start off with 75%, they're now up to 82%, and I'm not going to play this tank anymore. So, okay, if they were better trained, the accuracy would be better, aiming time would be better, so, and the rate of fire would be a little bit as well. So maybe with full training, the tank might be in the acceptable range. At the moment, it's totally unacceptable. And 2.5 seconds is bad, but when you combine that with 0.4 accuracy, it's really bad. So even at fairly close range, if you pop over or pop out from something to take a shot, the two combination of slower aim and poor accuracy just means you nearly always miss, unless you stay there for a long time, in which case everyone pelts you and your armor is totally useless and you explode. So you either got a choice: pop out, take a shot, miss, stay there, take a shot and maybe hit, still maybe miss anyway because it's still not good accuracy, and then get hit and die. Not very good choices. And that's the real problem with this tank. It has a sniper armor with a brawler aim and accuracy. Now, okay, it probably does brawler damage. So brawler damage, brawler aim time, brawler accuracy on a tank that cannot take a hit. And that's the problem. It's a brawler gun on a sniper tank. Okay. Enough about that. And speaking about that, I'll talk a little bit more about the vulnerabilities of this tank in Tank Inspector. Let's go there right now. So let's have a look at the armor now of the Pz.Kpfw.IV in Tank Inspector. Going to the colorized view. So we can see that the beak of the tank here is 30mm thick, as is the upper part of here. It's very flat and very easy to pen at 30mm, dead flat. The upper section of the plate here is 20mm thick, as is the very lower part here. No one's going to shoot that lower part, that's pretty hard to shoot. Side of the hull is 20mm, as is the rear of the hull. Onto the turret now, we can see that the front of the turret, which is also quite flat, is also 30mm thick. Around the mantlet, we have 35mm, and this blue section which goes around is 18mm overlaying the 30, so if you're lucky someone will hit that. You have to be very lucky though. The cupola, as you can see here, is also 30mm thick. Side of the turret is 20mm, as is the rear. Basically, I stopped a few rounds from a Panzer 1C in the games I've played, but I haven't managed to bounce anything else. So the Armour's pretty much useless. Now, it is slightly better, for example, than the T28. So why is the T28 a much better tank in my opinion? It really comes down to the gun. The gun on the T28 is a devastating gun, and okay, if you do, and a very maneuverable tank. So okay, you've got light armor, but you can shoot from range and have a high rate of fire, and you can quickly decimate tanks. You can't do it with this tank. You basically have to stay, well, you just have to stay so long in front of them to aim and fire and reload, and it's just, you just die. Also, this tank is very fragile like the T28 and is easily destroyed by artillery and easily killed by HE ammo, and there are a lot of tanks that can and will one-shot you, and there are a lot of tanks that can and will two-shot you. Another thing about this tank is, well, I have probably had a bit of bad luck. I've played, I think, let me just check, hang on. Okay, yeah, I've played 35 games in this tank, and only 4 games were tier 4 games. All the rest were tier 5 and 6. So, you know, maybe that colour is colouring my view a little bit. Maybe if you just played it, you know, get a lot of tier 4 games, it may do a bit better. I probably just got shafted by Matchmaker, but even so, the tier 4 games that I did have, I didn't do particularly well, or feel that I could do particularly well. Yeah. Alright, so the other thing you need to know about this gun is shots to the front, like a lot of German tanks, shots to the front will set you on fire. The ammo rack is also very easily damaged from the front. So you catch on fire a lot and your ammo racked constantly from it to the front. Although generally speaking, once you're hit, you don't survive very long anyway, because you'll get hit multiple times, generally speaking. The other thing is to give you an idea of how bad this tank is. I came across on top of Himmelsdorf an AMX-40 French tank, heavily armoured but with a terrible gun. It was like I was a schoolboy with a pocket knife against a knight in armour. I couldn't penetrate him, and he couldn't not penetrate me. There was nothing I could do, and it was invincible. So yeah. Yeah. And the accuracy of this gun, in my experience, during my play, the accuracy has been absolutely appalling on this gun, and the aim time has been terrible. You'll fire 4 or 5 shots, miss, bounce one, and then get 1 shot killed. That happened a lot. Hopefully it was just me, and if you drive this tank, you'll feel better. What I'm going to do right now is show you a few clips of tanks one-shot killing this tank, so you can get an idea of how vulnerable it is, and then we'll get into some gameplay. Bear in mind, the games that I'm going to show you will be the best that I could do, and not indicative of average gameplay.
We're done for. Everyone get out. Bail out. This vehicle has had it. The engine is damaged. We're on fire. Track hit. We're immobilized. We're done for. Everyone get out. Bail out. This vehicle has had it. Our fuel's hit. We've lost half our gas. Bail out. This vehicle has had it. Bail out. This vehicle has had it.
Ways to die in the Panzer
We
4D.
didn't penetrate their armor. Critical hit.
In all of these clips, I'm on full health.
We're done for. Everyone get out. Let's go.
The map is Siegfried Line. It's a tier 5 match. We're in our tier 4 German medium Panzer 4D. like I say, out of the whatever it was 35 games I played, I only had 4 tier 4 games, so I can't really show you anything. Didn't have any good ones either. Anyway, yeah, tier 5 match, and we've got M3 Stewart out in the open. I can't quite get a shot on him yet, but we'll see how we go here. I did decide though that I was going to try and just sort of snipe this game, because I've just been getting continually 1-shot killed and 2-shot killed every time anyone saw me. Apart from this little section here at the start where I go up here, from after this I just try and basically hide. I'm just trying to see if I can get any free easy shots here first. M3 Lee, somewhat out in the open. I'm taking a bit of a risk going out here, but you have to take risks in this tank. The accuracy on this tank is absolutely terrible. Now my crew is only, I think in this game, about 75% trained, or maybe in this game actually probably about 76% trained. But so that could explain it a lot. But even so, at anything over 200 meters, generally about 50% of my shots would hit. Over 100 meters, probably about 60% of my shots would hit. Over 300 meters, I would say only about 20% of my shots would hit. And it's 0.4 accuracy, which isn't very good, but it could be my crew skills as well. And that, if that improved substantially with the crew skills, then you probably could use this tank to snipe with. But pretty much as soon as you're spotted, you're dead, because it's very fragile. Nothing bounces off it. And you can't shoot back quickly because you've got a slow aim time, slow accuracy, so you can't really respond very well either. Anyway, so I try and take something where I can hide as far back as possible, hopefully without getting spotted. At the end of this game too, I do get a very high ping. It goes to 999. I experience extreme lag. It's funny though, because it doesn't show on the replay, but you'll see the last shot of the game, I'm aiming at a guy, I fire, and nothing happens. So I maneuver my tank, he maneuvers his tank, I figure I'm dead, and then my shell hits him about 4 seconds after I fired it. Anyway, so that was a very accurate shot, and this game, I'm showing this game because it all went really well. So this is a game showing the tank at its best accuracy I ever got out of it, where it was actually hitting things that I aimed at. That's not the norm. Normally, shooting at this range, that sort of range, it would miss 90% of that sort of range. So here, 280 meters, you know, Buckley's chance of hitting anything really. Shell velocity on this tank is also fairly slow. Also, the lack of accuracy and makes it really hard to hit moving targets. If you have to move your turret or turn your turret while shooting, the chance of hitting is extremely slim.
Penetration.
There you're getting one in the side of the Pz.Kpfw.IV there. Yes, but turret rotation, I don't know. Just doesn't fire accurate.
Enemy armor is hit. Enemy vehicle destroyed. Penetration. Enemy armor is destroyed.
So we're very lucky, all the tanks are bunched up, none of them seem to know we're here, we're pretty much invisible.
Destroyed.
And we even managed to get through the turret, the side of the turret of the KV-220 there, with our 103 mils of penetration. That was a little bit lucky perhaps, at that range. So the enemy, I've realised now, only has one tank left. So we've got 4 kills, so I'm moving in to see if we can get a shot on it. And this is about when my bad lag, if you look at the ping in the top left hand corner there, you'll see it shoot up. Here we go, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. Now I fired a shot. Now according to me on my screen at the time, that should have hit him straight away. I now fire another shot, and you see there it hit straight away. I actually fired that shot about 4 seconds ago. Anyway, yeah. Not a bad game. So that was one of the few pretty good games I had in this tank. We obviously hit plenty of tanks and did okay. Next screen. We actually finished second for experience, which is pretty good, and I think maybe fourth for damage. Being that it was a tier 5 game, that wasn't a bad result. So fired 18 shots, of which 9 hit. And look, normally it's even worse than that. Hopefully with cruise skills. With cruise skills at 100%, probably this would be how it would be, I would think. Because I was pretty lucky with some of my hits. Whereas normally it's much worse, but with the cruise skills 100%, probably be similar to what you just saw. Damage of 743 is pretty good, and we got 171 from a distance of over 300 meters. We spotted 1, damage 6, destroyed 5, 18,000, 17,000. So if you're using standard ammunition, it's quite cheap. We fired 18 rounds, it only cost us about 1,200 there. The premium ammunition is very expensive though, but yeah, standard ammunition, quite cheap. You can make a bit of profit, but unfortunately I had such bad games it took a long time to make any money and to gather much experience. We got 738, and it was enough for a class 1. So master in this tank would probably be around 800 or 850 experience, which also goes some way to telling you that not many people are having good games in this tank. Thank you for watching my review of the Pz.Kpfw.IV. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more reviews, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. Have fun!